subjects that we talk about in the church, and we use money every day. So open your mind, prosperity that God wants for you. So we ask the question, how would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality. The poor man's mentality. How would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality. The poor man's mentality. Yeah.
Well, hello. This is Gayle Gilmore, and welcome to How Would Jesus Invest? My mission each week is to share about that taboo subject and often dirty words in the church: money, finances, prosperity, and wealth, and all the like. I really thank you for joining me for How Would Jesus Invest? And please let me know that you are watching by typing in the chat and letting me know where you are watching from. We also ask you, if you have not subscribed to this Gem Nugget channel, please subscribe to the Gem Nugget channel so you don't miss anything, not just How Would Jesus Invest, but shows throughout the week like Church School Live, where you'll get your weekly Sunday school lesson, Life Study, where you get your weekly Bible school lesson, and even get some exercise and inspiration, walking 1K with Gigi. If you want to be a blessing to this station and to this ministry, just hit on that super thanks there and help us out there. Or you can donate at the Gem Gifts. That's our Cash App, and GraceAndTwineMinistries.com. We are now close to 42,000 subscribers. To God be the glory. But again, thank you for joining me for How Would Jesus Invest? Please let me know where you're watching from, especially if you're outside of Virginia or somewhere else in the United States, or even somewhere else in the world, because I would really love to know that you are watching. Well, if this is the first time that you have tuned in for How Would Jesus Invest, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Well, first of all, I am an award-winning author. The reason why I call this How Would Jesus Invest is because it is named after my award-winning book, How Would Jesus Invest? Breaking the Poor Man's Mentality. It won the 2011 Christian Choice Book Award in the area of finance, because I contend, just like Hosea 4:6, that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Although there's more in the Word of God about money and finances and all of that, even more than salvation and faith. There are 2,084 verses on the subject. I have also written other books. It Can't Be Boring, a Christian youth program for difficult times. Only by the Grace of God, the story of my dear friend Sharon Dixon, who was a domestic violence victim. Miracles of the Exchange, Intentional Blessings. Of course, my award-winning book, How Would Jesus Invest? And also my play, The Last Laugh, which is available on DVD. And if you would like to order any of these books or the DVD, you can go to GraceAndTwineMinistries.com. Well, who is this handsome fellow right here? Well, this fellow right here is none other than my husband, who is the founder and pastor of Grace and Twine Ministries, James E. Gilmore Sr. And we have been together and married for 42 years. It will be 43 years very soon. And I serve as co-pastor. And if you're ever in the Hampton Roads area, you need to come and visit us at Grace and Twine Ministries. That's our church right there. We're the Gem. We're located at 3923 Deep Creek Boulevard in the city of Portsmouth, Virginia. The zip code is 23702 in case you want to drop us a line or send us a donation at this address. Again, my husband is the founding pastor, James E. Gilmore Sr. Our worship service is 10 a.m. sharp on Sunday mornings, because you know what? You will find real love at the Gem. Well, again, I'm so glad that you're joining me. And you're probably wondering, why is it so dark and black behind me? Well, I'm trying to make a point uh, because recently I know everyone has heard about the economic blackout schedule that we had. It started Friday, February the 28th. And we have a whole schedule here starting February 28th. It was an economic blackout for, we just want to, make a point here, because especially we as Black people, we are over $1 trillion spending power, and the powers that be want to discount diversity, inclusion, and equity. So this is a whole schedule here. And this schedule will also be available on graceandtwineministries.com. Of course, started February 28th, Friday, economic blackout. I participated in it. I only went and supported a Black-owned business. I got my dinner at a Black-owned business, E-Palmers. They had the greatest Philly steak subs and Philly chicken subs. All right. And then coming up March 7th through the 14th, boycott, Amazon boycott. Y'all know a lot of y'all, Amazon. But anyway, March 21 to 28, Nestle boycott. These are all the companies that are not going and using the DEI standards. April 7th through the 14th, Walmart boycott. April 18th, that would be my birthday. The second economic blackout. Number 2, that's everywhere. April 21st through the 28th, General Mills boycott. You may have to, calm down on those cereals that y'all like for that week. Amazon boycott number 2, May 6th through the 12th. May 20th, 26th, Walmart again, number 2, and then Target, June 3rd through the 9th, McDonald's, June 24th through the 30th, and then ending on July the 4th, Independence Day boycott. And again, we're also going to have that on our website, graceandtwineministries.com, just in case you don't forget, what the schedule is. But today, my subject is this: the economic weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but are mighty. There's a scripture that tells us about our spiritual weapons. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God to the full pulling down of strongholds. And usually when we talk about our spiritual weapons, there are 3 main weapons that we usually talk about. We talk about the word, we talk about prayer, and we talk about praise. But I want to tell you that we also have some economic weapons that are available, and they're not carnal, they're not violent, but they are mighty, and they can bring down some strongholds that we are dealing with. And our economic weapons, let me show you 3 of them, and I just have some word that goes with it. The first weapon that we have would be saving. We need to save. Proverbs 13:11 says, the wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends whatever he gets. One of the things that my parents always taught me, even when I got my first job, I thought, I got some money to just spend. And mom just brought me down front, said, no, we're going to split this money 3 ways. You save, first of all. Second was you tithe, because that's a type of investment. And you spend some. That's what you do. She always talked about saving for the rainy day, saving for the future, for those things that you want in the future. Because if you save, that's a weapon, because, we're in some perilous times, especially when we are talking about our government and things like that. And you never know what will happen in the future. I know everyone has saw the recent blow up between the two leaders, the leader of Ukraine and the President Trump. I just don't have anything else to say about that, because it reminds me of my counseling days. We have someone I want to call the bully in chief. I ain't even going into that anymore. I know by this time everybody has seen that. But one of the weapons, again, that we have is saving our money. And another verse says this: wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. All right. So that is Proverbs 21:20. See, it's not really about get rich quick schemes and things like that, because a lot of times that kind of money is just going to go away fast anyway. But I like this, what it says, Proverbs 21:20. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. But we got to go back to that first one. A wise man, if you're wise, you are going to save for the future. But the foolish man spends whatever he gets, because we always have to be prepared, especially in this day and time, because when things come up, it won't shake us so much if we have some things saved up. Even when we have talked about having an emergency fund, we said that emergency fund should last for at least a year, in case something crazy comes up. I mean, I know of some friends and some people, of course, these firings that have happened, and now they have to figure out what they're going to do, good jobs and everything like that. And for those that have saved and put something to the side, it's not hurting them as much. Now, all of it is uncalled for, but those that have saved, it's not hurting them as much. And in the meantime, they are looking for other positions. And I think the Lord is going to bless them to do that very thing in the midst of all, I have to just say, chaos that's going on. The second economic weapon that we have is investing. Matthew 25:14-30. Jesus, God, he expects us. We should be investing our money. You invest, because this gets into, we always talk about the law of sowing and reaping. Matthew 25:14-30 is the parable of the talents. And this was a parable about this master. He had left his 3 workers. He gave one 5, he gave one 3, he gave one 1. And the one that had the 5, he went ahead and invested it. And then the other one that had the other amount, but the one, he hid his. And we know what the result of that. The others doubled theirs, but because he hid it, he said, wicked servant, I'll cast you into, outer darkness, because God wants us to invest and to make more, because in 2 Corinthians, it says, but this I say, he that soweth sparingly and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Because if you reap sparingly, you're going to, if you sow sparingly, you're going to reap sparingly. And if you sow bountifully, you're going to reap bountifully. Again, it is all the law of sowing and reaping. And he wants us to invest. He wants us to sow, because it is supposed to multiply. All right. So when we invest, and I'm not even talking about the stock market, but investing in those things that will bring back a return, that will be useful. We want to invest in things that even appreciate and value, like a home and things like that, things that appreciate. He wants us to multiply, which gets into my last weapon. Guess what my last weapon is? I know you're not going to believe it, but starting your own business. Oh my goodness, Gayle, where do you get that from? Now, there is said in the word, in the very beginning. I remember when I first started How Would Jesus Invest, I had a little contest, and I asked the audience what was the first commandment. And, most people are thinking the first commandment was, the first of the 10 commandments that God gave Moses. There's only one God, have no other God. No, the very first, if you want to look at the very first commandment in the Bible, is, and some of my audience, you probably remember this because I think I have maybe one of the wonders up here now, but it's Genesis 1:28 says, be fruitful and multiply. Right after he made man and woman and he put them down, he says, be fruitful and multiply and have dominion over the earth, subdue it, dominion over the fish, the fowl, the air, over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. They, being the first man and woman, they couldn't go to somebody and ask for a job. They was it. And so they started their own business, although it was thrust on them, and it was to be fruitful and to multiply and to replenish the earth. And let's look at another verse that kind of backs that up as well. And that is in First Peter 4:10, and coming from the NIV, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various form. See, all of us have some skills and things that we can use to serve others, as well as to possibly make a living. Hey, if you can do hair, hey, that's a service. And of course, I'm so happy for my hairdresser. I've been going to her for about 20 years, but that's a gift that God has given her. And so she's self-employed. She really works for herself, although she uses somebody building, but she makes her own hours. She comes and goes as she please. And so what it says, whatever gift that you have been given, why don't you turn it into a business? Because anytime that you have something that will serve others, that can become a business. And how about the virtuous woman? When we look at Proverbs 31:16-17, it says she considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. And that's a businesswoman right there. And even Jesus said he was about his father's what? His father's business. So we in this day and time, I mean, the people, with everything that's going on in government and everything, although some small businesses might be having a little bit of difficulty, but it ain't nothing like having your own business, because you still can deal with some things and you don't have to depend on other things and other people and things like this. But starting your own, and to me, these are three economic weapons that we can use. For those of y'all that are coming on late, the Lord just showed me that we have some economic weapons as well as spiritual weapons. In the beginning, I was talking about how the verse tells us that the weapons of our warfare, first of all, they're not carnal, they're not evil. There's nothing evil about saving your money. It's not nothing evil about investing. It's not nothing evil about starting your own business. It's just like our spiritual weapons, the word, prayer, and praise. They are not evil, but guess what? They are mighty through God to the pulling down of any stronghold, even if that stronghold is poverty. Let me go back just a little bit for those people that just came on. I'm talking about the economic weapons of our warfare, and they are not carnal, but they are mighty. At first one I talked about was about saving. Proverbs tells us that a wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends whatever he gets. And then we talked about investing, because God expects us to invest, because we can take advantage of the law of sowing and reaping. And as I always say, when you reap, you always reap multiplied abundance of what you have invested. Now, if you're not getting more than you put in, even if you're talking about the stock market, that's something you don't need to invest in. If it's something that's taken away from your money, maybe you need to change your investment, even like in the stock market. And the third is starting your own business. The very first man and woman were told to be fruitful and multiply. They did not have the luxury of going to the unemployment office. They didn't have to look for a job. Their business was right there. They had to tend the field. They had to be fruitful and multiply. Jesus was even about his father's business. He told his parents, I'm about my father's business. Okay. So those are our economic weapons. They are not carnal, but they are mighty. Well, the rest of this, I just want to share. Like I said, y'all notice everything is black around me. And this is symbolizing what we have been talking about this economic blackout that we are starting because we want to get people's attention that we, especially as a Black people, we will not be taken advantage of and disrespected, especially because of our diversity. And we just want to equal share, and we want to be included. And so I want to share with you a message. And last week, Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant, I tell you, I'm just giving you about 12 minutes.
Faith around and find out.
I don't want you to come on yet, because that was the subject, faith around and find out. And, he's talking about, even in our history as Black people, because let's think about this. Even when we talk about slavery, this was business. I mean, we might think about, discrimination and prejudice, but slavery was a business. That was the bottom line about it. And then when we come down to our civil rights and Dr. Martin Luther King and the Montgomery bus boycotts, the only thing that people really paid attention to is when we stopped riding the buses, because the money was not coming in. And I believe, from what I recall, I might be mistaken, I think they did this for so many days until it, when people started missing the money, things started to change. But I want you to listen to Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant, and we'll say a few things about it. after we listened to it, because this was a powerful, powerful message. Here we go.
Faith around and find out. Look at the person beside you. Tell them this year, whatever you do, faith around and find out. Amen. Faith around and find out. Former president of my alma mater, Morehouse College, Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays, once said, the tragedy of life often is not in our failure, but in our complacency. Not in our doing too much, but rather in our doing too little. Not in our living above our ability, but living below our capacity. Some people confuse complacency with laziness, but they are not the same thing. As there are those who are very busy doing what's comfortable, yet they shy away from what's challenging. Complacency slips lingerie around time and seduces you into believing there's nothing else to do, or that you've done all there is to do. You should never confuse a quicksand with a mud bath. While both are warm and relaxing, before you realize it, you have drowned in past achievement. You are not called to be complacent, but to be more than conqueror. Whatever you do, don't get satisfied because you won the battle. This is now the hour that you have got to win the war. I stand before you this morning because I am concerned at how lackadaisical the country has become. We've allowed a Fox newscaster to become Secretary of Defense, a man who can't practice medicine without a pardon to be nominated Secretary of Health. We have a shadow president by the name of Elon Musk, who is operating government efficiency with no approval from Congress or budget to support that department, and yet now he has access to all of our private records. And nobody is saying anything. We've elected a president with 34 felonies who released 1,500 convicted thugs who desecrated the flag that they hold so dear, threatened members of Congress, assault law enforcement, and yet black men can't get a job or an apartment because of a stain on their record. And nobody is saying anything on the merits of moving the box off applications. Evangelicals, we already know how you feel about black people. But when Bishop Marion Bood prayed at the inauguration and asked for mercy on the poor and the marginalized, the least you could have done is stood right with her when the president defamed her ordination, her assignment, and her denomination. Micah 6:8 says to act justly and to seek mercy. And there are people who don't understand that your energies are misguided. I don't need you to fight me, I need you to fight for me. Don't fight me, fight with me. And you do all of that, and the Christian community still has not stood with this courageous woman of God. They're trying, even as we speak, to dismantle the Department of Education.
They're dismantling the Department of Education while American students are 24th in science. We are 38th in math. 40% of all U.S. citizens, 40% of all U.S. citizens are not able to read on their level. They're making it illegal for Black history to be incorporated in the curriculum. Black teachers are being targeted if they teach our authentic history. There's a direct correlation between education and economics. And as a consequence, you need to be alert and spry as they are trying to dismantle Pell Grants. The reason why that's important is 80% of Black college students who are currently enrolled are the recipients of Pell Grants. And if Pell Grants are taken away, the larger question beyond our students being in the classroom is what will be the state for the future of HBCUs. And yet we're not saying anything. A mind is a terrible thing to waste is a catchy slogan, but it is about to become our reality, and we're falling asleep at the wheel. They have now made it legal. While it is that you are fighting about TikTok, arguing about love and hip-hop, you don't even understand the crisis that we are in. Irv Gotti died just last week, an icon of the music industry for those of us who came through in the 90s, and nobody is giving any conversation that 3 out of 4 Black men have pre-diabetes. Our Black men are dying right around us, and we're not saying anything about it. They've made it legal to invade churches while worship is taking place. And while schools are conducting classrooms in search allegedly for undocumented immigrants. And in the same breath, they have just signed that it is okay for white South Africans to enter the country without going through the exact rigmarole that Black South Africans have to go through, and yet we're not saying anything. You really not gonna say nothing that last week 300 Black women in the Congo were raped? You not gonna say nothing that 1,000 Black people were killed in the Congo? You ain't gonna say nothing about nothing? You're not motivated about anything. You're not angry about anything. You're not pushed towards anything about you except anything that involves your household, and you don't realize your whole house is about to catch on fire. I don't know how it is that you got time to talk about everybody else in everybody else's business, but you ain't got time to go to God in prayer. Nothing moves you. For what you have seen in the last 3 weeks with almost 300 executive orders and all of the strides that our ancestors tried to make for the advancement of this country, and you ain't gonna say nothing? You are prepared to spend all of your money on cowboy carded tickets when the average Black family doesn't have $500 in the bank. You ain't upset about nothing? White supremacy is banking on your complacency. They are banking on you being so complacent about your car, your bag, your shoes, that you don't see the whole community is imploding around you. That's why Target, Walmart, McDonald's, Ford, Lowe's is about to have a wake-up call, because whenever it is that Black people organize and mobilize, there is nothing that we go after that we don't succeed in. I'm telling you, the only weapon they got against us is division. As long as we fight each other and do not walk together, we are always going to be defeated. Look at us with your crazy self, fighting over who's an Omega and who's a Delta. And if you ain't that, you talking about you need to renounce both of them. Look at you fighting over who you fighting over who got a weave and who natural with your silly self. You better get yourself together and walk together, children, and not get weary. America getting ready to faith around and find out. Target underestimated our spending power. We are the 12th wealthiest nation in the world with over $2 trillion worth of spending power. Target said that they're not backing up, they're not slowing down, they're not letting up. But ladies and gentlemen, in the last week, their stock has dropped by $11. Because when black people got a mind to do something significant, we broke the Montgomery bus system, and we about to break down Target and Walmart. Faith around and find out. I remember hearing about how in 2 Kings chapter 7, how the stock market crashed and food insecurity was rampant. On top of that, warfare was afoot all around. Then lo and behold, in the middle of this fiscal crisis, in the midst of this militaristic invasion, we found 4 black men who were diagnosed with an incurable disease with no health coverage. They felt overwhelmed because there seemed to be no hope on the horizon, making their doom appear unavoidable, until one of them came up with the epiphany. Are we just gonna sit here and die? Are we gonna sit here and do nothing? Are we gonna sit here and just watch the news? Are we just gonna be stressed out over every alert? All of them made up in their mind, if we sit here, we gonna die. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you this, you are your ancestors' prayer answer. And they looking at you, waiting to see, are you just gonna sit there? Come on, y'all ain't saying nothing. You just gonna act like none of this is happening? What legacy are you gonna leave for your great-grandchildren? What are you gonna leave for those who are looking at you to see what are you doing at this critical juncture in history? Are you gonna do anything? I need you to look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I can't just sit here and die. You can't just sit there talking about, here it is, what you can't do. And I'm tired of our people always talking about what they can't do. Always talking about, I can't work for somebody else. Well, if you can't, go start a business.
Oh, my goodness. I tell you, it was tight, but it's right. But, one of the things that really stood out for me, and we always talk about it, is how we need to be together. Psalm 133, how good and how pleasant it is when brethren come together in unity. And it's nothing that we cannot do as a people if we are divided. And I think the one that really stood out for me said the only weapon that they have is division. If they can divide us, because he said, the thing is we fight each other. He said, don't fight with me. Don't fight me, fight with me. And see, this is something that we have to do together, especially in this time. And God did not call us to be complacent. Even our ancestors with, Dr. Martin Luther King, we just couldn't stand. And are we upset or not? You're not upset yet? I just love what he said there. But especially in the times that we see coming. But the thing is that we have to be together, especially economically. What just warmed my heart yesterday, because I had made up in my mind I'm going to be part of these boycotts as they come up, and I started on yesterday, and I had made up in my mind because Fridays is like my free day as far as cooking. And usually, I pick up something fast food or something to eat. And earlier this week, when I went to make my grocery at E-Palmer's over in Norfolk, our Black-owned and veteran-owned supermarket, just so excited about this. So yesterday, I made up in my mind. I said, I'm going to go over there. I had to go through the tunnel, I know, but I said it was worth it because, our instructions is that we were not supposed to buy anything. Make sure we got our gas the day before and all of that stuff, unless it was emergencies, unless you had to get medicine. But if you did want to buy some, support the Black business. And so I had made in my mind, although I had to go through the tunnel, I'm going to get, because they had told me that E-Palmer's had these delicious Philly subs, the Philly chicken. Because the man told me the other day, and I couldn't get it the other day because the people that do it, they have special people that prepare them, had called in sick. And I said, yes, today is the day. I'm going over there especially. And what just warmed my heart, when I got over there, the parking lot was packed. The parking lot was packed. Plus, they have a soul food kitchen, and that line was almost out the door. Now, the place where they do the subs is separate. Yeah, it was a wait too for that, but I tell you, it was worth the wait. That my husband had the chicken one, the chicken Philly sub, and I had the Philly steak sub, and I got one for my grandson too. Oh, it was so delicious. And while I was there waiting, there were people that came in, and some people I knew, some people from other churches, and one girl said, "Gayle, is that you?" I said, "Yeah, girl." We hugged each other, and I asked her, I said, "You live in this area?" She said, "Oh, no, we just coming to support." She said, "I'm going over here to the grocery store because I've been seeing different people, including you, talking about the grocery store." I said, yes. And, it just warmed my heart. And see, this is what happens when we come together, especially in the times that we are living in now. That's why I want to talk about these economic weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but are mighty. And maybe I need to add one more economic weapon. Man, let me just type it here in the chat, because I want to put it in big letters here. The fourth weapon, Lord just dropped it in my spirit. If the enemy is going to use division, our weapon must be, let me put it right here in the chat. Whoops. Here it comes. Here it comes. Get ready for it. Unity. Fourth weapon is unity. Oh my gosh. When we put our little things together, we can do a lot if we come together in unity. Thank you for that, Lord, just in the midst as I'm sharing here. So that's the fourth weapon. I told you what the weapons were. The weapons were saving. First was saving our money for future, just like we're looking at right now. The second one, I wanted to bring up my points again in case people didn't see it at first. Saving, and then I talked about investing, not just investing our monies and things, but investing in each other's businesses. The other day when I went to E-Palmer's, and maybe some of y'all saw the video, and I was complimenting one of the workers in there because she was just so friendly. And then when I stopped to interview her, she said, if it's anything that we don't have, just let us know, and we'll try to get it in here. And I could take her up on that, and that would be an investment. I invested in what she was doing, and something could come back to me, and it could bring something in that I could use that's not in there. But we need to invest in each other. And what was the third one? Is go ahead, start your own business. God has given you gifts and things like that. Some of you can provide services. There's some things you probably can just do out of your own house. There's another scripture that says your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. So, start your own business. Use the gifts that God has given you, because the first commandment to man and woman was to be fruitful and multiply. And they had a ground floor business, from tending the land and the earth and so forth, and having dominion, and talked about whatever gifts you have. And I just added a fourth weapon, and that is unity, just coming together. So those are our economic. Let me go back here. Those, I don't want you to miss it. Those are the economic weapons of our warfare. They're not carnal. Ain't nothing carnal, ain't nothing evil about coming together. Now, the other folks might feel threatened because we come together, but it is not evil, it's not carnal. That's what it wants to do. And as Dr. Jamal Bryant said, that's the weapon that they use against us most of the time, is division, because they know if we get together, the enemy knows that if we get together, we are mighty. The devil, he's together. Remember, I told you the story where Jesus asked the man, asked the spirit in the man, who are you? He said, we're legion, because we are many and we're regimented and we're together. So, so our weapon, that fourth weapon, that's very important, is unity, especially in this day and time. We don't need to be fighting with each other. Don't fight me, fight with me. Oh my goodness. Well, I that message from Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant, it just awakened something to me. It was just such a eye opener. And he is a promoter also of this national boycott, this national economic boycott. And so we want to keep this in mind, because if we are together, this thing can work. This can work. And as I said before, if you can't remember all of these dates on our website, you can check it out at Grace Entwine Ministries.com. Let me type this up there in case you go back and you say, wait a minute, I'm trying to remember when all these boycott dates are. And so let me just put up our website real quick. And it is GraceEntwineMinistries.com. That's why I'm all in black and white. I just really want you to see this. We need to support this, and we need to come together as a people. And we're all going to benefit if we come together in unity. They won't take us for granted anymore. They won't take our money for granted anymore. So again, we need to support each other. I had shared even Jesus. It's not that we're trying to discriminate against anyone, but even with Jesus, he wanted to take care of his people first, because when he was getting ready to, the Gentile lady asked him to heal her daughter, and it looked like that he wasn't going to do. He said, I can't give the children bread to the dogs. My mission was for the children of Israel, for my people first. He had even told his disciples, don't even go there. he said, but I come first. But she was worship him, and so much she broke him down. She broke him down, and he healed her daughter. So Jesus understood how important it was to especially be about his Father's business, and to take care of his own first, not to not be worried about anybody else. But as we said so many times, we as Black Americans and Black community, we are the only group that don't take care of ourselves first. And we can do it. We can do it. I was talking to somebody the other day, because I said, we as Black people, we're going to just sit back and watch this stuff implode. I'm going to be sitting with my popcorn, because we've been through this before, and we know how to get through it. And a lot of times we got through it together and in unity. So we want to keep those things in mind. Again, my subject today was the economic weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty. Y'all need to share this with somebody. Y'all need to share this with somebody. So thank you so much for joining me for How Would Jesus Invest? We're still working on my guest. We're just getting some technical things out of the way. Attorney Eric Moody, he will be with us. Talk to him this week. We're getting some things together, and I will announce when he will be on, because that other fact we know from the Bible is that a wise man saves for his children's children. He leaves his inheritance. We just want to make sure that we know how to do it in the right way and the right manner. So that will be coming soon. That will be coming soon. But again, I never want to leave unless I just thank you. Thank you so much for just joining me today. Thank you so much if you're sharing this with somebody. And your comments today. Thank you for your comments. Most of all, thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your encouragement, and those that have supported this channel and this ministry through so many ways. We said thank you. We have people supporting us as far away as Sweden. And so we thank all of you. Pastor JG and I, we thank you so much. So until next time, like I said, I had to make a point. I had to make everything black, because we're talking about this blackout. So until next time, don't forget, we have that schedule on graceentwineministries.com. So you can just go to our website and you can pull up that schedule so you can see it. And we want to get together on this thing. And when we get together, what it says, our weapons are not carnal, but they are mighty through God, through the pulling down of strongholds. So until next time, this has been How Would Jesus Invest? Thank you for joining me today.
It seems like money is a taboo subject that we talk about in the church, and we use money every day. So open your mind, that God wants for you. So he asked the question, how would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality. How would Jesus invest? We're breaking the poor man's mentality.